welcome your host of Lasting Love, Mr. and Mrs. Payne.
What's up?
What's up?
What's up? Man, welcome back to another episode. I'm Mr. Payne.
And I'm Mrs. Payne.
And this is
Lasting Love.
All right, y'all, we in day 19, and we got a good topic for you today. It's called serving each other. All right, we're going to be talking about serving each other. And we know that our scripture going to be for today is perfect. It's going to run right into it. It's Mark 10 and 45, and it reads, "For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve." And so if we are to be like Christ, then that means that we have to have the characteristics of Christ. And so one thing about it is being a husband is being what we call a servant leader. Mm-hmm. And not only just a husband, people in business, in certain communities and stuff like that, they understand this word called servant leader. And it plays a real big part when it comes to you being the person that people look up to and that people need and they can depend on, but also they're dependent on you to lead them as well. So what you feel about today's topic, man?
In a marriage, you cannot have a good marriage without service.
Right. That's true. That's true.
And not self-serving, but serving each other. Because a lot of people get into marriage and they think that they go into self-serve.
Right, right.
But you're going into ministry. Marriage is ministry.
It is.
So your job is to minister to your spouse. And your spouse is to minister to you. And y'all are supposed to be an example of Christ.
To everybody that you encounter.
Yes.
Right. So we're going to go ahead and jump into our prayer. Our prayer today, hold hand. All right. Lord, teach us how to serve one another selflessly, reflecting the love of Christ in our actions and the grace and mercy that he extends and bestows upon us each and every day. In Jesus' name, amen. So, we're at day 19, like I said earlier, of day 30. We're almost wrapping this thing. We are past the midpoint, and we are going strong. And hopefully, if everybody that's been tapping in and been paying attention and just been with us and rocking with us this whole time, first of all, we want to say thank you. But you've been getting some good points. You've been getting some tips and maybe some strategies that you can use or that you can implement inside your own marriage, because that's what it's all about. That's what we're doing it for. We're doing it not only for us because we're being strengthened in this time, but we want to also help strengthen others. How important, let's go back to serving each other. I want to get the prayer out the way. How important, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is it on the scale? What do you think it falls into the number? Actually understanding what we're talking about, not being selfish, but being selfless, right? Especially being in a marriage when we're together, and we have to you really have to get to the point to where you stop thinking about yourself.
Yes.
You have to consider your partner. You have to consider your spouse. I don't like to use the word partner because that's so modern these days. You have to consider your wife or your husband. You have to consider your spouse before you consider yourself.
Yes.
In a lot of situations, and that's crazy, because if you're a selfish person and you're used to doing everything self, right, for yourself, by yourself, and with yourself, then marriage is something that you really have to be prepared for it. You have to prepare yourself for it, because it's a mindset to put somebody else's feelings, somebody else's needs and wants before your own.
Yes.
How does that help the dynamic of the marriage when you're able to facilitate those type of thoughts and those type of actions throughout your marriage? How does that look in a marriage?
It makes it have more harmony, I'd say. Because when you know that somebody else is selfless, then it makes you want to be selfless.
That's good.
And it makes you know that the other person has the best interest, your best interest at heart.
Right.
And they're not just about themselves.
That's good. That's good. And that makes you makes you be a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit more secure. It actually does. It's actually more vulnerable and secure when you see that somebody's putting you before themselves, when you see somebody putting your well-being and everything like that before them, that makes you want to open up, that makes you feel secure. What about the security aspect of that?
Yeah,
Being a servant to your spouse, the security aspect, knowing that you have somebody, because you really think about it, those are the attributes of Christ. That's exactly how Christ came in, not to be served, but to be a servant.
Yes.
And that is the most. Could you imagine coming from glory?
That's deep.
Coming from glory to to come into an infestated place, a filthy place, coming from pure righteousness and virtue and holiness, to come down here and serve us. So when you really think about that in its totality, you really have to sit back and understand the mind of Christ is love.
Yeah.
Right? That he didn't put himself, he didn't come in on his throne, he didn't come in the chairs like he could have came in, right? He came in and put himself in the most filthiest place that we could be. To serve us. And so if we are to replicate that, it takes a lot of determination, it takes a lot of fortitude in order to maintain that mindset. Because guess what? Sometimes you do want to just be like, I got it. Sometimes you get like that. So it takes a consistency of always, and that's the reason why he said pray without cease.
Yeah.
Prayer without ceasing, because that right there is going to keep you in commune with God. That's going to keep you in commune with him. And when you're in commune with him, then you can hear from him.
Yeah.
And when you can hear from him, then you can listen to him.
Yeah.
Right? And then you start to recognize when it's not you that's talking, when it's him that's talking to you. Oh, that's a good one. When it's not you that's talking, but it's him that's talking to you.
His voice gets loud.
His voice gets loud. It's just like a muscle. When you go to the gym, the muscle that you work out the most is the one that's going to be the strongest. Could you imagine somebody going in there and just curling one arm and how the other arm going to look?
Oh.
It's going to be lopsided. And a lot of times our relationships, our spiritual walk, and our marriages are lopsided because of the muscles that we're not working out. Those areas that we want to be selfish in, that we're not working out and not willing to be a servant to our spouse and to our loved one. And so I think that's really important. You got anything you want to say about that? Okay. All right, so we're going to move into our declaration, y'all. We're going to move into our declaration. What are we declaring today, love?
We declare we serve each other with joy and humility, growing in love and unity.
Oh, that's beautiful. We serve each other, and that's what it's all about. Submit one to another.
Yes.
Ain't that's all it is, you're serving. That's all it is, serving one to another. And our affirmation for the day: I will find joy in serving my spouse, knowing it strengthens our bond. Ain't that true?
Come on now.
It does, doesn't it?
Serving each other.
Serving each other strengthens our bond, because I know somebody has my best interest, like you said earlier, at heart. I know I got somebody that's in my corner. I know I'm not doing this alone.
Come on now.
I know I have somebody that got my back, right? That's going to ride and live for me. We don't do ride or die. Ride and live for me. And that's so important.
So what are examples of service to you?
Oh, service. Okay. Let's see. Service to me in I guess in our marriage would be, first and foremost, it's not just, I don't feel like it's just tangible. It's also spiritual, right? And so what I look at as service is that I keep you lifted before the throne of grace, right? That's a form of a spiritual service, because I am the priest in the home. So I keep her lifted up. I keep her exalted before God, and making sure that, first of all, he's covering her. And I keep the angels encamped around her. And so there's a certain dispatchment that I have to do spiritually for her, to serve her. Then on other ends, serve her emotionally, right? I have to be that pillow, that security blanket. I don't know if you watch what's that? Charlie Brown, right? The little dude that walk around with the blanket, even though he got the little flies and stuff like that, that's kind of like a security blanket. He don't go anywhere without that. I have to be that security blanket for her. Meaning, right, wow, let's get this understood, that I have to make sure that the environment is conducive for whatever I need out of her. I have to make sure the environment is conducive to what to bring forth, to manifest anything that I need out of her. Because why? Because I'm going to put things in her. She's a womb man. So that means the way I talk is a form of service, right? The way I treat her, providing and protecting, those things, that's fine. That's I guess that's the basics. That's the basics, right? But it goes beyond that. Because when she needs to talk, who she's going to talk to. I don't want her always running and calling her friends. Why? When you got me, when you got your priest. And that, you know how important that is? Because if a situation comes or arises, I got to go into my closet. Yeah. I have to have a relationship with God in order to seek counsel and then come back with the wisdom that she needs to move forward. How do I know it's wisdom? Because then it manifests.
Yeah.
You see that? Or it gets confirmed, right, by somebody else or other people. That's how you know that it's not just him just talking out of the side of his neck. It's confirmed by other spiritual beliefs. So I got to make sure. So I think that's serving you just not just the basics, but spiritually, mentally, right? I have to make sure that, okay, this is the tricky part, especially with women. Y'all got that stuff. You got to make sure, fellas, that you protect them from themselves. Okay, I'm going to say that again. You have to make sure that you protect them from themselves. And let me explain this to you. A lot of times you run into situations to where women will want to bring on more things on their plates. Come on.
Yeah.
You see how she's looking over there because you know it's true, right? They want to bring more things on their plate, and you have to be like the filter, be like, nah, you're not going to do that. Nah, we're not doing that. No, we need to finish this before we move on to the next thing. And see, that's another way of serving her. Because a lot of times that she will go and go and go and go, and you have to say, stop. Whoa, Kimosabi. We know that you can ride, you know what I'm saying? We know that you got the horsepower, you could go, but it's time for you to sit back, chill, take that off your plate. Let me take this. You can take that. I got this. We ain't doing that. That is another form of serving. Just being that leader, servant leader in the household. And of course, that's what I think. What you think about that?
You know, being that servant leader allows me to come out of survival mode.
Survival mode. That's good. Yeah.
That's really good. That's really good because in survival mode, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. I don't know how to say no.
That's it.
Yeah.
People pleasing.
Yeah. And I'm all over the place and I'm doing everything. But you come in and say no, and that helps me to get in
to bring structure. To bring structure.
It does. And that's real good. That's really good. Yeah. Especially for me, because me being a nurse practitioner in my field and the boss where I'm at, and I got to tell everybody what to do. And I'm delegating all the time. Okay, you do this, you do that. The patients, I'm educating them, telling them to do this and do that. And when I come home, I'm still trying to do it, running around, trying to do everything else. But it allows me to get into my femininity.
Let's talk. Yeah, you got. Yeah, that's another subject.
But that's a whole nother subject.
That's a whole
other
subject.
Somewhere else.
No,
Anyway,
No, you know,
service.
we still on that because that's all part of it. Because if you're not served correctly, let me tell you something. If you go to a restaurant and the waiter does not give you proper service, what's the likelihood of you enjoying yourself and leaving them a good tip?
There's no likelihood of it.
It gets smaller and smaller that they're going to receive. Now, mind you, this is their job. Their job is to serve you. But if they don't do a good job at what they're getting paid to do, the likelihood of you giving them a bonus or a tip or being comfortable or enjoying that moment with your family, it gets smaller and smaller. Right? And so even in situations like that, we have to understand that we have to take on that role so that I have to take on that role so then she can enjoy.
Yeah.
So she can enjoy the moments together, that she can enjoy the home and the comforts that's been that we've been blessed with, right? She got to be able to enjoy those things. So I have to take on that servant role at times, so she can actually like, okay then, and relax.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And so that's just how I look at it.
Yeah.
I look at it like that. I look
Yeah.
at it making sure, and then of course, vice versa, it all happens. But that's how I see it. And that's how I move forward. You got anything else you want to add to that, love?
So when we say service,
Uh-huh.
we see the male who's the provider.
Uh-huh.
That's a service.
Yeah.
Protector. That's a service.
Right.
He is the head of the house, the priest of the home.
Yeah.
That's a service.
Mm-hmm.
He also learns how to listen to her
Got to.
and how to cover the children at the same time. Discipline them, correct them,
Right.
all of the above, right?
Right.
But still, and love them,
Yeah.
right? So that's a lot of service for the male and the women. When you look at the woman, the household, you got to, and this is westernized, way of looking at it.
Right.
It's so many different cultures do so many different things, right?
Right.
And it's, service looks different in everybody's household.
That's true.
So it's no, exact way of how you serve each other.
Blueprint. Right.
There's no blueprint.
Right. Right.
So your service is, your household may be different from our household.
Thanks. Yeah.
So make sure that you are appreciating the services that you're getting.
Right. Yeah. That's the quickest way to get it cut short. Is that you don't appreciate. That's another topic. We don't want to jump into that one. But but you got to appreciate. And okay, real quick. 80-20. I got to go back to the 80-20 rule. So the 80-20 rule is the rule, and I'm pretty sure you guys out there, y'all understand what this is. So the 80-20 rule is that, so a lot of times people, they end up leaving a relationship or leaving a marriage based off of 20% of what somebody's doing. Now, the person that they're with is doing 80% of everything that they need, everything that they want, everything they could desire, right? But then they look across, right? They look across the fence and they think the grass is greener. And the reason why is because they see that person doing 20%. You understand what I'm saying? So when she's talking about appreciating the service or the servant leader that you have or that you're receiving from the home, meaning that you got to appreciate that 80%. And if you appreciate that 80%, it'll turn into 85. It'll turn into 90. It might even turn to 95. But the thing about it is you have to first appreciate what you have before you complain about it and try to get something else.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
That's true.
You have to learn how to appreciate what you have before God's going to bless you with an increase. Yeah, with an upgrade. Right?
Yeah. And
so that's the thing about it. I show her how much I appreciate her cooking. Guess what's gonna happen?
Get more cooking.
Get more cooking, big dog. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's a little salty.
What you say?
I'm just saying. Even if it's a little salty. I still gotta show appreciation. Hey, that's good.
How you gonna do me like that?
I'm just saying in situations, even when it's not exactly the way you want it, you still have to appreciate the person for the time and the effort they took in order to make it. In order to do, because they're serving you and they're serving you the best way that they can. Now, what's gonna do is I'll be like, ooh, baby, she like high taste, like, ooh, it's a little salty. Guess what she gonna do? But it's good though. And she see you grubbing, she gonna go to YouTube and take a little bit more effort and might look at a recipe and try to figure that thing out just because you showed appreciation. I'm telling you, it works.
And not only that, another thing. So like what I like when you do, what I like that you do is that, okay, sometimes I do have a little too salty. Yeah. I'm sorry, y'all. My mom didn't cook with salt because she had high blood pressure. So, coming in the house, you got to learn how to cook with salt because I didn't eat with it for years.
Just a little bit.
So, what he does is he comes in and shows me how to fix it.
Oh, that's deep. That's good.
So, I learned a lot from him because, he cooks.
I do a little something.
Yeah, he cooks. Yeah, he cooks. Like, he really cooks, y'all. And I believe that's a perfect blend because he like to cook, y'all. He Chef Boyo Negro. No, but for real though, he does cook and he excellent cook, y'all. Yeah. So, and yeah, so I'm learning a lot from him in this process, and I got some dishes that I do good on.
Oh yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
New things, it's a little process.
Right.
Yeah, so we learn.
But the thing about it, I think the beautiful thing about it is that we enjoy serving each other.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing about it. We enjoy serving each other. Yeah, that's it. You find somebody that you can enjoy, and the reason why we enjoy it is because of appreciation.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And so we said all this to say that serving each other is the best thing that you can do in a relationship, and learning how to appreciate the service that you get, no matter what level it's on, no matter where it's at that time and at that point. Appreciate it, and you'll see it flourish. You'll see it get bigger and better and greater. So, hey, that was a pretty good lesson.
Yeah, it was.
It was. So I like that. I like that. But anyway, we about to go ahead and sign on off. And again, I'm Mr. Payne.
I'm Mrs. Payne.
And this is
Lasting Love.
Peace.